All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Terry Brown. I'm the Small Business Center Director here at Central Carolina Community College. And welcome to Business Planning Market Research Part 2. So this is the second part of a three-part webinar series on how to use free and available resources to do market research for your business plan. So today I have with me Mari Wimberly. Mari is a digital services librarian and site archivist at CCCC. Her professional interests include information accessibility, research strategies, and presentation. She is committed to strengthening the local community through traditional and innovative programs and services. So welcome, Mari. How are you today?
Wonderful. I hope you can hear me okay still.
Yeah.
Hello,
So the
everyone.
only other thing I want to mention really quickly before you get started is we're going to be using the chat today. So we love questions. Please post all your questions in the chat and I will monitor those and forward those to Mari, and we'll try to get those questions answered to you before we leave this afternoon. All right. So Mari, I'll let you go ahead and get started.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mari Wimberly, and I'm glad to be here with you today. Whether you're joining us live or are listening to the recording, as Terry just said, please do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions about these topics at any time. If you're listening live, please feel free to drop questions into the chat box. We will keep an eye on that. If you're listening to the recording, we'll have contact info at the end of the presentation. We'd love to help. That's what we're here for. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to last week's session, my colleague Allison introduced some of the phenomenal resources that the CCCC library provides for students and community patrons. That recording can be viewed on our YouTube channel. Today, we are going to talk about some of the free resources for small business owners that are available on the internet. These are all public websites that are available to anyone with an internet connection. These websites are free. There is no paywall, and you don't need a subscription, access code, library card, or membership to some institution. You are also not required to set up an account in order to view things on these sites. These websites are relevant to your small business ownership. They are safe and reliable with current information which can be customized to your needs. They're also dynamic. They include a variety of content, including interactive tools, live and recorded webinars, videos, articles, tutorials, and more. So these are the ones we're going to look at today. The Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina, U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the D4 tool developed by the North Carolina Department of Commerce, the IRS Small Business and Self-Employed Tax Center, and some resources for grants and funding. These are by no means the only resources available on the web, as I'm sure you can guess, but they will probably end up being some of the most useful. So let's dive right in. Our first site is EDPNC, the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina. You all have probably heard of them and possibly even worked with them already. According to their website, EDPNC is focused on recruiting new businesses to the state, supporting the needs of existing businesses, connecting exporters to global customers, helping small business owners get their start, and attracting tourists and visitors from all over the world. This is a great resource because it's all focused just on North Carolina. I'm going to show you a few things from their website. All right, hope you can see the website. This is their homepage. Take a look at the tab up at the top. The one we're going to look at is called Business Support, the fourth tab over here. I apologize, my internet's a little bit slow today. There we go. If you scroll down the page, you can see options like start a business, grow an existing business, or get export assistance. Down here at the bottom of the page, there is an events calendar. It lists both webinars and in-person events hosted by experts all around the nation. Back up here in the middle of the page though, let's click on Start a Business. Not sure where my slide jumped there. There we go. This page has a business planning checklist, and each item on the list links to a page of resources to help you with that step. Looks like the first step is to create a business plan. I know a lot of you are working on that step right now. If we click Business Plan Resources, we get this lovely collection of links to external websites that have guidebooks, step-by-step instructions, videos, and templates. As you can see, there are also other resources. If you scroll down a little farther, here's sales and marketing resources, financing resources. This page has a wealth of information. I probably offer an entire webinar just on what is here. Here's entrepreneur resources. And also notice up here, this red bar at the top of the page, each of these categories has forms and explanations. I'll tell you that the tax information and employer requirements button here, it looks like a lifesaver. It talks about everything you need to do and what it all means. We'll look at some more resources for taxes around. This is a really good place to start. Anyway, I like the way their website is laid out. I'll just add here that the mobile view is also very clean and attractive and easy to navigate. I pulled it up on my cheap phone and it loaded quickly and I was able to find my way around easily. The next site that we're going to look at today is uspto.gov, the United States Patent and Trademark Office website. This is a government website and contains resources about intellectual property protection through the acquisition and use of patents, trademarks, and copyrights. It even features a page designed specifically for inventors and entrepreneurs. Let's take a look together. This is the home page. This gray bar here at the top has drop-down menus with quick links. And here in the center of the page are recent news articles featuring USPTO. What we need to look at right now is this white box on the right that says New to IP. Halfway down the list, you'll see Inventor and Entrepreneur Resources. That's where we want to go. It's important to understand that this site and all the other ones that I show you today are going to be helpful to you no matter what stage of the process you're at. Whether you're just starting out or whether you've been in business for a while, as you can see from the different categories on this page, there's something here for you. Down at the bottom, these colorful icons will take you to easy explanations to help you understand exactly what patents, trademarks, and copyrights are. There are two things I want to show you on this page that I think are a good example of what this website offers. First, let's look at the list of links in the Get Started category. It's the first one right up here. One of them is called Identify the Kind of IP You Have. Let's click on that. This is an interactive tool for figuring out what kind of intellectual property you might have as a part of your business. If you click the check boxes and click Start and just go through and select whatever answers apply to you and your business, I'm just going to go ahead and click a few today. I'm going to say, no, I don't understand what types of IP I have. It's going to ask you questions about whether you use brand names, slogans, logos, or some way of distinguishing yourself. It's going to ask some pretty specific questions about what types of products you work with or what you make or design in your business. Again, I'm not going to read through these. I just want to get to the ending page to show you what they give you. View results. All right. So at the end, you're going to get a list of possibilities of what IP protection you might need, as well as an option to use the advanced IP identifier to narrow it down a little more and give you further guidance. So here, just from what I clicked on, it said, I might have the following types of intellectual property. I might need copyrights. I might need a trademark. I might have trade secrets. And I might have utility patents. I would not have a need for a design patent because from what I clicked on, it did not indicate that I had actually designed anything as a part of my business. And if I wanted to, I could go through, start the advanced IP identifier and find out very specifically what types of intellectual property protection I might need to apply for. There's also going to be an option to download these results as a PDF. Right here it says export to PDF down here at the bottom right corner. And I could keep this and print it out for my future reference if I wanted to be able to look back to that later on. So this is just one example of the tools, the types of tools that you'll find on this website that are designed to help you find answers. Back on the inventor and entrepreneur resources page, you'll notice that there is an entire subcategory just for entrepreneur resources. It's right here under the little computer mouse icon. Let's click on startup resources and see what they have to offer. Now this is going to link you back to various parts of the USPTO site. You might recognize some of the offerings. Here's the identify the kind of IP you have that we just looked at a moment ago. There are also some external links here. Anytime you see the little box with the arrow coming out of it, that's going to take you to a completely different website. We obviously don't have time to look at all of these today, but please do explore them on your own. The last thing I want to highlight on this site is the Learning and Resources tab up at the top. If we click on that, it will take you to a page with all kinds of exciting educational resources. But here all the way at the bottom is my favorite, events. These are upcoming virtual events that you can register for and attend for free. You can click the All Events button right there under the list for a complete listing. This is a great way to attend a webinar, kind of like the one you're in right now, and be able to learn from experts and get answers to your questions. And if you can't make it to one of these, if one of these looks really interesting and you would like to view it later, there's a time frame box up here. Right now it's set to future events. If you click right there, you can get to past events, you can select a year, and it will take you to a listing of all of the past events they have had. And if the session was recorded, which I believe they all are, or they almost all are, you'll be able to access the recording. I believe that some of these have been in series. So they might have, trademark basics, part 1, part 2, part 3, and you can go in there and you can view all of them. So the Learning and Resources tab has some really, really wonderful things to look through if you have time or if you have further questions. Great way to network as well. Let's move on. Our next site is the Demand-Driven Data Delivery Tool, or D4, from the North Carolina Department of Commerce website. The North Carolina Department of Commerce website is a monumental website in its own right and has a plethora of useful information and features. So for today, I'm just going to focus on this one tool. Let me pull up their website. So let's say that I'm starting a small business and I'm interested in restaurants. I want to know what the average hourly wages are for employees in the food service industry. I'm going to click here and navigate to the first result, labor market data and tools. I believe it is employee by occupation. There we go. Occupational employment and wages in North Carolina. This tool will allow me to see the median hourly wage for whatever industries I select. You can see here's on the left in this box, there's a list of many, many different industries. I'm going to scroll down here to food preparation and serving related occupations. There we go. Then I'm going to click the view button down here. It's a little bit hard to see. It took me a while to figure these buttons out, but it's this little button all the way on the left to your view. That opens up this table of various food prep and serving related occupations. Bartenders, waiters, and waitresses, you get the idea. There are all sorts of different boxes here, and if I have time to read through this table, I could find out probably whatever information I wanted to know about what the median hourly wage is going to be for each of these jobs. This little row of icons here will allow me to download this table as an Excel spreadsheet, print it out, or copy a permalink if I want to send it to somebody as is. If I want to reset the table, if I want to look at a different occupation, I can click on the red X and it will reset. It will take me back here and I could choose a different occupation. And you can even narrow it down. You can select different data, or you can get even more specific for what industry you want. So this is a really good tool for finding out publicly available information like that and getting it all in one nice table. There's a lot that you can find out on here. It's overwhelming. So if you need help finding a specific piece of information, please let us know. Set up a research appointment with us here at the library, and we will help you sift through this for answers. Next, let's look at the IRS Small Business and Self-Employed Tax Center. This is, of course, a subsection of the IRS website, irs.gov, and the information on this site is authoritative. This page is a collection of links to information about what you'll need to know and do in order to complete your small business's taxes correctly and on time. This includes info, not just info about filling out the actual tax documents, but steps you'll have to take if you're starting, operating, or closing a business, or changing its name or address. The first link in the stages of owning a business box down here on the left is called Starting a Business. I'm going to click on that. And this has taken us to a page with a list called What New Business Owners Need to Know About Federal Taxes. There's also a link on the slide on the right over here under Publications that's called Recommended Reading for Small Businesses. I'm going to look at that really quickly. This is a collection of resources. I see on here business expenses, starting a business and keeping records, employer's tax guide, all kinds of things on here. They're all available as PDFs if you want to print them out, if you prefer reading off paper instead of a screen. And most of them are also available as web pages if you like the view on your computer screen better. Very good reference information here if you like to take notes on things and mark them up with highlighters. That's where you'll find a lot of helpful things for your small business. Back on the home page, I'd like to point you in particular online learning box down at the bottom of the page. In this list, you're going to see online tools and educational products. It's the third in the list here. There are two really great resources on this page. First is the Small Business Tax Workshop right here. This is available through the IRS video portal. And it consists of 8 video modules explaining what you need to know about taxes and your small business. Each of the videos, you can see the listing of them here on the right. Each of them also features a transcript. So if you prefer reading to watching, you can certainly do that instead, or print it out if you'd like to keep it for reference. The videos give a lot of examples of real life situations and some very in-depth information. Please also note the languages here. Subtitles for these videos are available in several languages, including Spanish, Vietnamese, Chinese, Korean, and Russian. If any of those languages would be helpful to you, you can select them. I'm going to select Spanish right here. And then when you press play on the video, oops, I don't really want to hear it right now. You'll see the little CC here for closed captioning. If you click on that and make sure that it's enabled, that it's not crossed out, the video itself will still be in English, but it will have subtitles in Spanish or in Vietnamese or whatever language that you have selected. If you'll scroll down, you'll notice that when I selected Spanish, it also switched the transcript of the video to Spanish. So again, if you prefer reading to watching and listening, you'll be able to access the contents of that video written out in those languages. Back on online learning and educational product page, let's also take a look at Understanding Taxes link. It's down here towards the bottom. And I'm going to click on Student Site, the yellow box. This is a program developed by the IRS to teach US residents about how the US tax system works. This isn't specific to small businesses, but if you want a better handle on the way taxes work in general, if you don't know much about that or would like to feel more confident when you are accessing various tax documents or preparing your taxes, this is a great resource. You can see here they have activities, they have tutorials, simulations, and assessments. The simulations are pretty cool. It gives you scenarios of what different people would do in different tax situations and the steps that they would have to take. If you don't know a lot about tax vocabulary, like here it says what is a dependent, what is an exemption. If you feel like you really would just like a crash course on how to understand all that better, you can find that here as well. Now, as librarians, we are not allowed to give tax assistance or advice, including filling out or proofreading forms or interpreting instructions. Frankly, as far as I'm concerned, you would not want me to. However, if you are having trouble navigating the IRS website and can't locate a particular form for a certain year, or if you're looking for instructions or tutorials, we can certainly help you with that. It's a huge website and it is easy to get lost. And finally, I've compiled a short list here of some sites where you can start looking at grants and funding. This could be an entire webinar series by itself. Grant writing, it can be extremely complex. It's not really as scary as it looks if you've never done it before. I have been through the process for applying for various library grants before, and it is intense, but it is 100% doable. I believe in you all, you can do it. If you are pursuing grants for funding or applying for loans or any other financial things, there are so many resources online that can help you to understand the process and give you tips and tricks to help make your application process more successful. So since that is really outside of the scope of today's presentation, I will say that the grants.gov website has a lot of resources for the sorts of things I've just been describing. I'm going to pull that really quickly here for you. So of course they do list federal grants here on this site, but they also have learning grants. They have Grants 101, grant eligibility. Here's a portal for applicants. They have frequently asked questions, training, registration, eligibility, how to apply for grants. So this is a good place to start if you're interested in the grant process or just learning more about it. There are many sites. I've only listed a few here. usgrants.org also has a lot of good information. Carolina Small Business Development Fund is going to be focused a little bit more on just North Carolina. And I've also linked back to the financing resources section of the EDPNC website. Many of these sites, the second two especially, they're going to talk about loans and how you can apply for and obtain loans and where to start looking for those as well. And finally, please do contact us. I know that Allison went over these things last week when she talked about library resources. Your librarians are also a library resource. So we are available across 3 campuses, Lee, Chatham, and Harnett, for virtual and in-person reference consultations. You can email us, call us, stop in and visit us, or make an appointment with us. We are all very happy to help you find resources, answer questions, direct you to things that you might find helpful. So please do not hesitate to call us up, even if you're watching this recording 3 years from now. There will still be librarians here, and we will still be glad to help you. So please, if you have questions about any of these websites or something that you wish that we had gone into more detail about, we are very happy to help you with all of that.
Thank you, Mari. I'm going to give everyone just a moment. If you have any questions, go ahead and pop those in the chat. A couple of things I want to note. Next week will be part 3 of this series, so please come back and join us next Monday for the final third part of the series, where the discussion is going to be around how to put all this information together into something that's useful to you and that's useful for your business plan. So join us for that. The other thing I want to mention is Duke Law Clinic will be doing a webinar with us on April 14th. And I will, in the chat, put our website address, leasbc.com. So if you'll go to our website, over to the left where it says free seminars and webinars, and go to online webinars, you can register for the April 14th session with the Duke Law Clinic, where they're going to be available to answer your questions. So as you're going through the USPTO website and you're gathering up some of your questions, do I need to do a patent? Do I need to do this, or do I need to do that? Bring those questions to that webinar and they'll be available to answer those for you for free. So it's exciting to have some attorneys that are available to answer some of those more direct questions. Tanya has a question. She's saying, are you able to answer questions regarding farm exemption numbers and taxpayer ID numbers? Or would this be a question for an attorney?
That would probably be a better question for an attorney. We're not law or tax experts, and while we probably could dig up some sort of answer, we would not be able to guarantee it in any way. So please ask somebody who 100% knows and can give you solid legal advice.
So Tanya, I would definitely say join us for that webinar on April 14th. And you're also in a class with us where you'll get an opportunity to speak to a CPA. So I would definitely ask CPA that question as well. Jennifer says, all the sites I've been looking for in one presentation. Thank you so much.
Glad to hear it.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right, I don't see any other questions coming through. So thank you again, Mari, for putting all this together for us. We really appreciate it. And we will see you all next week at 1 o'clock. So thanks again. And Mari, I will send you a list of everybody that was in attendance today, because I've had a couple of people ask about the slides. So if you'd be willing to send out the slides so they could see the links, that would be fantastic. And then of course,
yes, absolutely.
So you can watch the recording again, you know, at your leisure. All right. So thanks everyone for joining us, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much.